Good morning, friends. Welcome to Open Hand Farm on this sunny, emphasis on sunny, 54-degree morning. I'm Penny and I am so glad you're here. So today I'm going to do a garden tour. Mark surprised me and took me out of town over the front part of this week. So we did get a lot of rain while we were gone. So let's see what we can find. We're partially in the shade here, but I did want to show you that my herbs that I planted last week are looking like they are rooting well and starting to make some growth. I did stick a sad little Echinacea right here. I'm hoping that it will kind of kick its way out of the sadness and perk up soon. I definitely need to start stringing up these tomatoes. They are looking amazing. I'm seeing some suckers coming on. If you don't know what a sucker is, it's the part of the plant that will grow up in the armpit of the plant. See that kind of armpit shape here? And you want to pick those out because they will take energy from your plant and make it terribly wild. The garlic is so tall. The blue Hubbard squash is growing nicely. The other squash, I don't know, it's doing okay, but when I planted these, I knew that they were kind of root bound and wasn't real sure how they would do. This one's got a lot of good growth coming up in the middle of it. The fennel is getting new growth. That's exciting. An update on the potato boxes. They are holding up very well. Even through all of this rain, they're very sturdy and staying in place. And those potatoes are going to town. The same with our sweet potatoes. They are very happy too. The cucumbers are really growing. We have more ears coming up on our corn. That's exciting. And this hill finally has a cucumber that's decided to join the party. The berries are starting to turn red on the trees. Oh, they're gonna get a dark purple like that. Let me tell you what I saw last night. As I came out to the strawberry patch, I saw right here a little rabbit head poking over the top, and he had been in my strawberry bed and had been snacking on my strawberries. So frustrating. We will get this bed covered today or tomorrow. We're getting some really nice sized strawberries. I can't wait. This sunflower is really doing well. Looks like Mark's been adding to the fire pit. I guess we need to have a fire soon. I also found this tub somebody was getting rid of and asked if I could have it, and I planted some flowers in it so that we can have flowers around the fire pit. I've been wanting some, and I was just hanging them up on this shepherd's hook and they would just die because I would forget to water them. So hopefully we'll get some pretty flowers here. Okay, let's go into the food forest. Cherry tomatoes are doing well. They're growing taller. The peppers are definitely doing well. The kale is looking good. This one for sure is ready to pick some off of. This one is ready for harvesting. And I will just pinch off the big leaves and leave the plant, and they will grow more leaves. These smaller peppers I planted in here are growing. This kale is absolutely beautiful. This is a leafier, softer kale. It's more like a lettuce. It's called a red Russian, and it's really good to have in salads if you don't like the harder, crunchier kale leaf. The Saturn peaches are growing. I know I always talk about the Comfrey, but it's just a good measurement tool. Look at this thing, you guys. It's taller, like you can't even see it past the tree now. It's taller than some of the branches of the tree. And the peppermint again. I've had so many people come and take it, but it just keeps going to town. The blackberries are blooming and getting ready to set berries. Actually, the last video I did, I told you it had blooms, and I showed you the blooms, and that afternoon I came out here and there were blooms already opened. It happened that fast. I had some squash that I had started in pots, and they got root bound and weren't doing that great. And I just decided to stick them all out here in the mint and see how they would do. There's one, it's got new growth on it, looking good. Here's one, it's getting new growth. And there's one right over there. And it's got a lot of new growth. I'm feeling a little frustrated with my okra. There's the one that came up in my first planting. I have a few that are showing their faces, very few. There are some in this back row. We're doing okay. Looks like something's nibbled on that one. Here's some more. But there should be a lot more. I'm not real happy with that. I might have to start some inside and hope it's not too late. Peppers on this side of the garden are doing well as the parsley, and the dill just keeps getting bigger. The yarrow keeps growing too. And of course the comfrey. We also have the echinacea coming up and catching up with it. It's gonna bloom before long. I have a friend that wanted to stop by and get some of my comfrey. So I'm gonna dig up a little here, and I might actually be able to just pull it. Now I'm gonna have to dig a little. I'm gonna use my shovel to kind of cut the stalk away from the other. This is what the comfrey root looks like. It's really massive. So she can just take this and stick it in the ground and grow some of her own. She'll want to cut the leaves back so that it can concentrate on rooting instead of growing plants, but she can use the leaves, so I'm going to leave them on there. You might wonder why I have planted so much comfrey around my house and why around fruit trees. So I wanted to share with you a little bit more about this comfrey root. Compared to my finger, you can see how thick it is. This root goes down into the ground up to 10 feet deep. And what it does is it draws up from the ground all the minerals that are good for plants and different things, and it brings it up and it holds it in its leaves. So a lot of people use the comfrey as a chop and drop, which means they'll cut the leaves off and they'll just drop them on the ground, and as they deteriorate and as the rain falls on them, it washes all those minerals and good things into your garden bed and feeds your other plants. Now, these leaves also have medicinal purposes. They have a chemical in them that helps regenerate cell growth. So a long time ago, this plant was also called knit bone. And that's because it would actually help heal broken bones. So this can be made into a poultice where you just chop all this up and kind of wet it down with the chemicals that come out of the spine. It'll make it wet when you chop it all up. And you can put it as a compress if you have a broken bone or a sprain or something like that, and you could just hold it on there with saran wrap for like 30 to 40 minutes and do that once a day, and it will help the healing process. It's also good for some other things. I'm going to leave a link in my comments so that you can check it out for yourself. I don't know if any of you have this problem. I love the way the peony flowers look, but my body does not like the way they smell. So In order to be able to see them and have a bouquet, I put them on my front porch table instead of in my house. That way I can enjoy them. I had a friend come for coffee yesterday and brought me this plant. I am not familiar with it, but I think I'm going to put it in a pot and put it over here in the wagon to add some color to this side of my front garden beds. We have some coreopsis blooming this morning, and this calendula is really going to town. Let's see how these kohlrabi are doing. Oh, there it is. It's getting much bigger. Oh, there's another one. They're doing great. That one hasn't quite started forming yet. That one's getting one started. They're so cool. In this raised bed, my little broccolis kind of went to seed on me. The cabbage is doing well. That one's a little smaller. That one's doing well. Look at the kale. I call this a dinosaur kale, but it's really called Nero Cabbage. And I did pick some of this to feed to my rabbits the other day. And I also picked the red lettuce and made wilted lettuce for my parents, and it's already growing back with all this rain. I think we're having salad for dinner tonight. Isn't that the most beautiful head of lettuce? Okay, you guys, this this is crazy. This is my arugula, and while I was gone, it all bolted and has totally filled this whole bed. The carrots though, oh my goodness, I still need to thin them. Let's see if I can pull one out that needs to be thinned and see how it's doing. Oh, that was a grouping, but they're starting to form little carrots. I love it. I'll give these to the rabbits. They will be so happy. Let's take a peek at the beets. Oh yeah. You can see beets down in there forming. I have some kale that I am going to plant. It's finally big enough that I can transplant it into this bed. Bee balm is doing so well, and this echinacea finally kind of settled in and is getting some new growth. The sage is happy, and I'm getting a lot more growth here returning. Last week I had some extra raspberries in here that I didn't want. So a friend of mine came over last night and they're wanting to start some raspberry beds. Only they're gonna start them in pots for this year and hopefully buy their own home by next year and transplant them then. So we just pulled up what was not behind the fence and they took those home. And I know I could have put them somewhere else and grown them myself, but I don't mind sharing. I think I have enough. And these are still getting blooms and starting berries. Sturgeon really likes this cooler weather and is growing. See all the new growth on it? It loves it. I got a little visitor by the apple trees. Just seems very content. This is an area that we are still trying to figure out what to do. This is the north side of the house, and it has quite a steep hill. So I considered planting raspberries here, but it would be hard to kind of get up there. It doesn't look steep here, but to climb up it, it really is kind of steep. So if we planted raspberries, they would take off and they would fill in the space, but I don't know that I could really enjoy picking them, especially down here where it gets even more steep. So we were trying to think of something that we could plant just along the front part here, and we could even put a cow panel behind it to kind of block it, but that it wouldn't grow into the grass area. So if you have any ideas for a north-facing steep area, let me know. I am very happy with the way the raspberries have filled in and how the front garden is looking. We just started this front garden last spring and I wasn't sure how well it was going to do. Of course, there are weeds and grasses here, but again, that is what this pile of mulch is for. We have a friend that has offered to shovel it for me, but I have to get out here first and lay down some cardboard, like in this area here where there are weeds coming through. I want to put some more cardboard down before we put the mulch down so that helps to control all of that. So hopefully soon, guys. Every day is just full of something. And you'll see here there's a bunch of areas, but my biggest concern area is right here, where these little rhizome lily thingies come up, and I need to definitely mulch here with the cardboard and then the mulch to control it. I hope that your garden is growing well. Thanks again for coming along with me today. And thank you for your subscriptions, and thanks for being such a supportive community. I covet your comments. I love hearing from you. Until next time, blessings on you and yours.